If you're the sort of person who already knows the night sky back to front and wants me to talk about remote galaxies, forget it. Because what I'm going to be, this is addressed to the two-thirds of the audience who are beginners in the subject and don't know everything already. So this is a real beginner's talk. This is the sort of night sky you'll see in the middle of August. Hopefully you'll be able to get away and see a sky not looking too dissimilar from that, and the whole sky there, with a similar number of stars. That's often the problem. These star maps show so many stars that you actually don't see, you actually can't pick out which ones, which are the brightest ones. They all look the same brightness, but at the same time from towns, when you're at home, you don't see anything but the brightest. So it's a mixture of the two. At this time of year, the summer triangle is really evident. That's the triangle. If I press the right button, the actual triangle will appear. Let me just find the cursor key. There we go. So that's your summer triangle. Now, bear in mind that this is showing the whole of the sky. So the centre of this image is overhead, and all around the edges are the horizon there. So what's there on that screen there is covering the whole of the sky. So realise that that is more or less overhead. The overhead point is about there. So that star there, Vega, is the brightest, is a very bright star, more or less directly overhead. And that's the size of the summer triangle. Therefore, Altair there is about mid-sky. So if you can see where I'm pointing, Vega and Deneb are up like that. Altair is down there. And so that's the sort of amount of sky we're talking about. Also, Jupiter, right down there, actually that's about 20 odd degrees up above the horizon. That's still quite well placed in terms of being a sight in the sky, but actually observationally it's hopeless at the moment. It's very difficult to get a good view of it. I know when it first appeared in the sort of the early morning sky 2 or 3 months ago, somebody who is a beginner in astronomy actually phoned up a friend of mine, said, I've discovered a supernova. It's a brilliant object down in the sky. Now, have you looked at it through binoculars? Have you seen the little moons on either side? This was about 3 in the morning, and he'd just gone to bed, of course, and his wife had to be up at 6, so he wasn't best pleased. Half an hour later, she rang again. Yeah, I've seen them. So if you see the moons of Jupiter, please don't phone me or my friend. Keep it to yourself. Now, this is the summer triangle, and that gives you your bearings. These signpost constellations are really handy. If you're wondering where the plough is, everyone wants to know where the plough is. It's over there at the moment. In other words, it's quite low down. It's going towards the north-western horizon there, and that, as you know, those two stars point towards the pole star, which is at about 51 degrees above the northern horizon. So that's to get your bearings. Now let's look at a bit of detail there. This is looking south, and there is this area here is the northern, it's the summer triangle again, so called because it's also equally visible in winter. One of the nice things about these things is that the summer triangle there is actually visible through until September, October, November, and it will still be around even in December, setting low in the west. It's quite high in the sky, so you won't be able to see a lot of the summer triangle quite late in the year. So constellations in that area you will actually be able to find until November time or something like that. So it's well worth getting to know this bit of sky. At this time of year, particularly if you're going away and getting into a darker sky area, maybe if you're going abroad in particular, follow the line of the northern of Cygnus, the Northern Cross there, which is this star here isn't particularly bright. I'll come back to that in a minute. But you can see the shape of the Northern Cross there, and that very conveniently points to the line of the Milky Way there. And hopefully you'll be able to see the Milky Way wherever you're going on holiday. Going right down to the horizon, this is a good time of year, maybe a little late, but you can still do it, to look for the constellation of Sagittarius, which has got a very recognisable teapot shape, and that's the teapot of Sagittarius there. You can't miss the right location because Jupiter is really brilliant. Just by it. Now I'm going to point out a few things to be seen in this part of the sky at the moment. This is a very good area for looking with binoculars. Masses of clusters and nebulae to be found in this area. One which I'm going to point out is something which, if you ask people what is the brightest globular cluster in the northern hemisphere, they'll say, oh, the great cluster in Hercules, M13. but it's not. The cluster down there, M22, is brighter still. Now, this is a photograph I took a few nights ago. I think it was about a month ago, but it was quite late in the evening. And you can see Jupiter there, and there are the stars of Sagittarius looking more or less as I showed you them just now. And just there is the Lagoon Nebula, and that is one of those obvious things with binoculars. You can still see it in August if you look at fairly early in the evening. Don't wait until 1 o'clock, and you can start to see the light, the Milky Way there. This is the what's called the scutum star cloud here, this brighter bit here, and there's also other star clouds like there in Sagittarius, and there's another one which is further down which you can't see. I was actually looking for the clusters M6 and M7, which I eventually saw way down here, but I don't think you'll be able to see those unless you're particularly lucky. There's a few of those objects identified, and M8 and M20 you should still be able to see with binoculars. So those wonderful misty things that you see when you're looking with binoculars, hey, what's that? And you have to look around and figure out where you are in the sky to be able to identify them. But M22 is worth looking for. There's the teapot of Sagittarius, and if you can see that, and you recognise it's the handle and the lid of the teapot, look just there and you find the cluster M22, the brightest globular cluster in the northern, visible from the northern hemisphere. It's not actually in the northern hemisphere itself, but it's the one that's visible. Much better still would be Omega Centauri further south, but we can't see that from these latitudes. If you go down to, say, the Canary Islands or wherever, then Omega Centauri at the right time of year, which is not now, is just visible. So those are things to look out for. Here's a picture of M22. If you see it looking like that with binoculars, suspect your eyesight, because that is a photograph taken under ideal conditions with a large telescope. Moving swiftly on.